Now, I have absolutely no idea on earth whether this video is going to come out at all. I'm at the press launch party for zoo venues, and you can see that over here. And the reason I'm trying to record this is for a very specific reason, and it's because there's been conversations today, just before the Fringe itself starts, around sound and the impact of sound that's not intended on your performance and your show. And as I tried to record this in this noisy place on a phone that claims to reduce background noise, I've just created a very little model that I think is worth keeping in your head in order to observe your own performances and your own intentions, and to make sure that however you do perform in venues that are going to be noisier than usual sometimes, partly because some venues have simply got noise bleed, the audiences come in and go very, very quickly. They can be quite fidgety too. We go and see show after show. There tends to be venues here that are, but this one's kind of not a venue, but you can see they've just kind of got wood up on the walls. Others are like hotel rooms and community centres that have had pop-up venues. Sound can be quite muffled, but quite often it can just let noise in from outside. Despite the efforts of ushers, they can tend to be noisy cues, not even coming into your show, but just going out of a show, going into another one next door. You can hear noise coming through from another theatre next door. You can hear bagpipers, fireworks going off, and all kinds of stuff. And I think the model is just numbered, really. The first thing that you can do is to immerse yourself so much in the work that, just like anywhere else, the fourth wall is up perhaps for you and you simply ignore it. But you try to immerse so much that you're not doing an act of ignoring, you're just immersed. And you simply probably try and keep this stuff away from your horizon of consciousness, so you don't even notice the noise, you're just so into what you're doing. And that works for some people. For others, there's a danger that it just displaces to somewhere else in your body, that you're being affected, and there's just a stress physically, it can affect your voice and so on. But if you're able to immerse completely, that works with outdoor theatre sometimes. It's where the fourth wall is up completely. The second thing that you can do is to allow yourself to notice it without judgment. So the key thing here with noticing, and it's from mindfulness, is you do notice that there's some noise coming from somewhere, and you just, by noticing it, you might instinctively react. You might just adjust your speaking, you might just slow down or have a beat of silence to allow a bit of noise to pass before you pick it up. But the key thing about noticing, not being judgmental, is it's just what you need to do, and you're aware of it, but what you're not actually doing is kind of having an internal verbal conversation in your head. You're not expressing anger, frustration, and then acting. You're just doing it. It's the expression, when a wise person walks, they just walk. The third thing that you can actually do, which for some people is easier or harder in all genres, is you actually see it as a kind of resource, and you allow it to affect you. And then what might happen is, because the audience is sometimes having a shared experience of that noise too, is that in certain cases it goes in favour of the piece. It becomes raw material, it's kind of alchemical. And the sounds that happen, the banging noise, I mean, some actors have actually, even in scripted plays, improvised a word or a line that somehow fitted in. It's not to go against the work, it's to take the momentum, a bit like when you do Aikido. It's a sort of non-violent way of doing it, but you see what's happening out there as a way to impact on you. In some cases the fourth wall comes down and what's going on in the audience somehow affects you in some way. It can be really simple, that you just up your volume, that you slow something down again, but it changes the piece that you're doing in subtle or less subtle ways. And then I think the last one, which is perhaps the hardest one to do, is to try and prevent it. And the danger is you can get worried about it, but if you've done a performance and you notice that noise bleed, for example, has affected it, is you might change the work in advance. You might re-block something. You might also have to speak with your ushers and ask them to usher a bit better to make sure there isn't noise outside. But you get on the case, either beforehand or actually during it. So there are lots and lots of different ways of doing this. One of them is to kind of just immerse, not just be in your work. The second one is to notice without judgment, and what that does is it stops you being in a big angry inner dialogue, but you are allowing yourself to go, there's been a bang out, side, and I'm just going to kind of take that and deal with it in some subtle way. But you're conscious without judgment. The third way is you're conscious with judgment, and you use it. You see it as a resource, you bring it into the work. And the fourth one is just difficult because there's a danger of stressing over it, but what you try and do is prevent it in advance, as much as you can, and try and deal with that noise as an issue.